Punk and Joe could be going old school when AEW Collision debuts. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. And CM Punk, yes, Mr. CM Punk, the man on the verge of making a return to AEW. The man that needed a new show created for him because he couldn't work with the Elite. And I still cannot wrap my head around that. And I think it's more the Elite to blame than Punk. But how Tony Khan hasn't just grown a set and said to both sets of parties, look, you either work together or you can all fuck off, because that's what McMahon would do. McMahon certainly wouldn't run away from this problem and create a brand new show just to keep them all happy and just to keep them separated. It's really, really dumb if you ask me, like, not necessary, but the new show's happening and CM Punk is returning to the new show. So let's deal with it. We made a video the other day saying Chris Jericho wanted to be Punk's first opponent when he returned. Punk was open to the idea, but he didn't want Jericho to be his first opponent. He wanted that feud to happen later down the line. And I don't blame Punk. Chris Jericho is a career killer in AEW. Who has Chris Jericho feuded with since losing the world title that has got anybody reasonably over? Every single feud Jericho's had is forgettable. From Orange Cassidy to Ricky Starks to everybody else. Now he's feuding with Adam Cole, and it's the same crap. Jericho and his cronies come out and he's got the numbers advantage, and then that's it. It leads to a match. I mean, I think Jericho should retire. And speaking of Jericho, former WWE wrestler Paul London actually came out today and says how you should not meet your heroes, and that Chris Jericho was his favourite wrestler growing up, and then he met him and then he changed his entire opinion. And I actually met Chris Jericho once, and you know what? He does come across as an absolute dickhead. Anyway, well, I'm not going to rant at Chris Jericho, but I thought it was interesting that Paul London said that, because I mean, I know I've only met him once, but my experience with Chris Jericho is bit of an arsehole. Anyway, let's move on though. Speaking of arseholes, Big Samoa Joe. That is who CM Punk wants to work with. And of course, it would be the continuation of their feud that they had in Ring of Honor. Look, I'm not a big, massive Joe fan. I am no means a Joe supporter. Definitely not a Sleepy Joe. I definitely prefer Samoa Joe over Sleepy Joe. That is 100% for sure. But look, I think Samoa Joe has been wasted. I think his career has been incredibly wasted since leaving TNA. And I think for a spell, he was okay in WWE, especially when he was feuding with Brock and when Paul Heyman was putting over Samoa Joe as this absolute killer. I mean, that kind of spell worked for Samoa Joe, but apart from that, his WWE run was forgetful. It was lackluster. It wasn't memorable. It could have been so much better and so much more, and he should not have spent half of it in NXT. But now Samoa Joe could be working with CM Punk, and I actually think this would be a good thing. Like I said, they had the feud in Ring of Honor. Apparently, Joe has always beaten CM Punk. Punk has not got a victory over Samoa Joe. So that's something else that they could perhaps add to this rivalry if it does go ahead and happen. Plus, with Tony Khan now owning Ring of Honor, surely he's got the video library, and if they did do a CM Punk Samoa Joe story, then they could implement footage from, their past in Ring of Honor. So, I mean, I think this would be interesting if it happens, but the problem is, Joe's been booked as an absolute loser. Joe is not got a high spot on the card at the moment, so he's not at the main. He's not even like upper mid card level. He's nowhere near that at the moment. So yeah, I don't really see how CM Punk's supposed to come back and feud with Joe. If this feud's really going to happen, then surely Samoa Joe should be getting some momentum behind him right now before Punk actually comes back, so it's a bit more believable. Again, I would rather see this than Jericho versus Punk, because Jericho is just, at this stage of his career, unwatchable. And I hate saying that, because Jericho is one of my favourites of all time. But yeah, no, his AEW run has been nothing short of garbage. So yeah, I would definitely rather see Punk versus Joe than Punk versus Jericho. Anyway, guys, let me know your opinions down below. What would you rather see? And I'm interested to see what's going to happen then. Who's going to go to AEW Coalition and who is going to stay on AEW Dynamite? Is it basically going to be everybody that doesn't like Punk? Are they going to be on Dynamite? Then everyone else is going to be on Coalition? It's one big clusterfuck. It really is a mess, guys. But that is AEW for you. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.